Hello everyone, hope you're okay. We're going to start now this talk. We're going to start with a meditation though. I'm just going to talk just whatever comes into my head, really. So breathe out any tension, be at peace, be relaxed, be at ease. Remember to tune the mind to the breath. It's a very important thing to do. It's an old Taoist practice. If the breath is harsh and noisy, the mind will be harsh and noisy, and vice versa. So just tune the mind and breath. Just breathe naturally, quietly. Let the mind be at peace. Focus upon the Lotus, if you like, or on the Buddhas. The Lotus is representative of our nature. Its roots are in the mud at the bottom of the water, like our roots are in the material world. But the flowers above the water are open to the sun, just as our true natures are open to the divine sun within. So just breathe out any tension and be at peace. So in the Voice of the Silence by H.P. Blavatsky, it says, "Look inward, thou art Buddha." Now, Buddha means enlightened. It does not say, "Look inward, thou wilt become Buddha." It says, "Look inward, thou art Buddha." Because we're already enlightened. We just have to wake up. We have created the clouds that obscure the sun. And these clouds have different densities. To some people, the clouds are very thin and they can see the sun shining through. Other people, the clouds may be denser, but there is a silver lining. And yet to others, they're like rain clouds. The sun is hidden completely. We all have it in the power in our minds to dissipate those clouds, let the sun shine within. William Blake said that we create mind-forged manacles. We create our own manacles, our own chains. But we always have the power to break free from those chains and realize what we truly are in essence. We are spiritual beings. As I mentioned many times, the greatest heresy is the separateness that weans us from the rest. The idea that we are separate beings. Inwardly, we are all one. The same sun shines on every one of us. And the same spiritual sun shines within every one of us. Another famous saying is that we are spiritual beings on a human journey, not human beings on a spiritual journey. When we go out into the streets, in the cities, we look at all these people walking down the streets, so many thousands, they're all on the same journey, ultimately. They're all walking the same path. At different levels, obviously, much different levels of being. In that case, we must have compassion for all beings, realizing that they are all our brothers and our sisters. This may be hard. Maybe some people that you feel very strong resentment towards. And all of us find it difficult to come to terms with that, obviously. But as the Buddha says, hatred does not cease by hatred. Hatred only ceases by love. This is the eternal law. And Jesus said, love your enemies, bless those that curse you, and pray for those that despitefully use you. Pray for those that despitefully use you. Again, not easy, but it makes sense. If you return hatred for hatred, hatred only grows. Again, Jesus said, those who live by the sword will perish by the sword. So we have to try to end the cycle of violence with love, divine love, pure love. It's only by giving these people love that you may, in time, end the hatred and the violence and the anger. As I say, it's not an easy thing to do. I wouldn't find it easy at all. But it's common sense. It's the only thing that really works in the long run. Because in these difficult times that we're going through at the moment, there's a lot of attempts to create division between people rather than unity. Of course, the Theosophical Society's main object is a universal brotherhood of humanity, regardless of race, creed, sex, caste, or colour. That's very important. H.P. Blavatsky also said that if we realised this teaching of brotherhood, we could have a golden age. The golden age would return to the earth. But if not, we would sink into such a sea of horror that its parallel history has never yet recorded. And if you look at things that have happened, the 2 world wars, terrorism, many other things that have gone on over the last 100 or so years, particularly the time since she died, we can see that the world has become very, very dark in many ways. I mean, we are in the age of Kali. That's another teaching that I've mentioned. And this lasts for 432,000 years, of which we've only gone through just over 5,000. And this may some people think, oh, that is, that's terrible, so depressing. But there are wheels within wheels, and certain civilizations and individuals and groups and countries go through their own golden ages, their own dark ages within that overall time period. Even we have our ages of Kali, our golden ages, etc. I mean, some people, their whole lives seem to be blessed. They say their whole lives are a golden age. Other people have terrible lives. It may seem that their whole lives are ages of Kali. But most of us, we're kind of in between. We have our golden ages, our silver ages, our bronze ages, and our iron ages, our dark ages within our lives, sometimes within the day. So there are wheels within wheels, and there's always a chance to make things better, to improve by the way we live, by the way we meditate, by the way we relate to others, by the way we think. Have perseverance as one who doth forevermore endure. Have patience. Patience sweet that naught can ruffle. It's all a matter of taking the stance of being spiritual beings, not material beings, spiritual beings. Taking that stance in our lives. and living as if we are spiritual beings. Because we're all, as Muriel Daw, a theosophical teacher that I like very much, who was into Zen Buddhism. She was actually one of the first women to be accepted in a certain Zen monastery in Japan. And she said that we're all fledgling bodhisattvas. We're all fledgling bodhisattvas. We all have the seed, the divine seed within us. And that's very important to remember, that we are potentially these divine beings, and try to live that way and to relate to others in that way. Love one another. Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you. Again, I may say this may seem difficult. At least we have to try. That was the watchword of the Masters of Wisdom. Try. Make the effort. At least try to do these things. Many people say, oh, well, we can't do that. It's impossible, Once you say that, you put up a barrier. And we're trying to create bridges, not barriers, not walls, bridges between ourselves and other human beings, other cultures, etc. Creating a universal brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity, regardless of race, creed, sex, caste, or colour. A society of loving kindness, of friendliness, of compassion, tenderness, gentleness, all those things that are unpopular today. It's all, you've got to be hard, you've got to be tough, you've got to. No. It's easy to be hard and tough. It's very hard sometimes to be gentle and kind and loving, because our lower natures react in a kind of negative way towards certain situations. That's because we're very much in touch with our lower nature, our material nature. So we tend then to be aggressive in a way towards other people. It's all a lot to do with the personal self, the fact that we're very much in the personality and we try to protect that personality. So if we're offended, we hit back. Whereas if we realise that personality is just a mask, it's just a transient thing. We just like actors on a stage. We just come on, play our parts, and then leave. I mean, take an actor like Anthony Hopkins, for example. He plays many, many parts on the stage. Maybe a king, he may be a beggar, he may be different things. But when he leaves the stage, he goes home as Anthony Hopkins. It's a very vague comparison, but it's a bit like us. We play all these parts on the stage of life, but after we die, we become what we truly are. And this is the difference between the individuality and the personality. Personality being the lower aspects of our being, the physical body, the life force, the desire body, and the lower parts of the mind. The lower mind is to do with, deals with material things, day-to-day life, day-to-day living. But we have an upper triad, upper triangle, which is Atma, spirit, Buddhi, the intuition, if you like, and Manas, which is the higher aspects of the mind. And the higher aspects of the mind are concerned with the spiritual things of life, beautiful art, poetry, music, and spiritual things. It's these things that we take with us beyond the grave, if you like, when we pass on from this earth. The material things that the lower mind are concerned with, day-to-day living, etc., we lose all these. They're just to do with the transient part of our nature. These high spiritual, beautiful thoughts take us to a place called Devachan, which is like a heavenly state where we dwell between lives before we're reborn. It's all to do with the cycles, of course, the cycles of life: birth, death, maturity, old age. Birth, we would go through all the processes of a lot of cycles of life, just as all the cycles of nature: spring, summer, autumn, winter, day and night. See everything that is cyclic. It's part of just one cycle. It manifests in many ways, but it's just one cycle in essence. Just one cycle. As above, so below. So we're just part of that cycle. We're just part of the ongoing cycles of life. The ongoing cycles that run through the universe. So to take the essence of everything, it's that we must always try to realize that we are spiritual beings, and that we have to see the same in others, realize that they too are spiritual beings in essence, no matter how the outward form may seem to be so far distant from that. And everyone in time, hopefully, unless they're very, very evil, which is very few people, will become a spiritual being, will reach enlightenment. We're all on the same pilgrimage, the same journey. Therefore, we must always keep that in the back of our mind as we go through our day-to-day activities. That should be our line of life meditation, if you like. An increasing awareness of our true spiritual nature. Should be our guide, our inspiration. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the Lord, the witness, the resting place, the asylum and the friend. And Krishna is speaking as our higher self. It's our higher self. The higher self is the Lord, the witness, the resting place, the asylum and the friend. And the voice of the silence says, by H.P. Blavatsky says, look inward, thou art Buddha. Now, Buddha means enlightened. And it does not say, look inward, thou wilt become Buddha. It says, look inward, thou art Buddha. You are a Buddha. You just have to awaken to it. I have a little rhyme that I made up, which says, we're already there, but not aware. My favorite Zen teacher, Bankei, says that we don't have to become Buddhas, we just have to remain Buddhas. So that's very important. It's very essential to realize that we are now, at this very moment, spiritual beings. We just have these clouds, as I mentioned, obscuring the sun. We are already spiritual beings. We've always been spiritual beings. We always will be spiritual beings. We're just suffering under the illusion, the Maya, that this world puts upon us through education, through the media, through different things. We have been taught to forget our spiritual nature. And the whole world now is built upon the opposite. We don't have this spiritual feeling. You just have to look at the buildings that we create, a lot of the art, music and poetry that comes out nowadays that lacks the spiritual essence. It's based very much upon material concepts and ideas. In fact, is rather ugly to the spirit. Plotinus or Plotinus, the Neoplatonic philosopher, said in one of his teachings that the soul recognizes true beauty. Anything that the soul recognizes that helps us to awaken to our true spiritual nature, the soul recognizes it. The beautiful poetry, beautiful music, beautiful art will increase our awareness of our spiritual nature, help us to become aware of our spiritual nature, where of course eventually we have to transcend all concepts, but it will help us on that journey. Whereas all the material art, poetry, music, entrenches us deeper and deeper into our material nature and shuts us off from realizing what we truly are in essence, the beauty of our true spiritual nature. And of course, love is very important. And this is the attitude we should have towards all our fellow creatures, not just human, but animals, plants, everything. What is love? Love is harmony. It's the harmony of the universe manifesting on this lower plane as love. And this is also compassion. Compassion is the attempt to create harmony. In other people, in the world in general, to create harmonious thoughts and feelings in other people. That's compassion, to help someone who's suffering, to bring them from that suffering back to a state of harmony, harmonious living, to a state of love. It's very important to have this appreciation of beauty in the world. Because there's so much ugliness created by the mind, so much darkness created by material thoughts and ideas, that we have to come to a state where we realize the true beauty of life, the divinity of our fellow human beings. As I've mentioned many times, Pythagoras said, "Take heart, for the race of man is divine." The race of man is divine in its inmost essence. We have the beauties of nature that raise the spirits. As I've said, also the beauties of poetry, art, music, true poetry, art, music. Anything that helps us to become more harmonious, awakens us to our spiritual nature, makes us feel this tranquility, peace, calmness, or this divine ecstasy within the soul. All of that is so essential to life, so essential to true life, to becoming what we truly are. And there's so many things in the world that can lift the spirits. Poetry, music, art, nature is another one, of course. The beauties of nature. When so many people just live in a stagnant world, stagnant mind, they don't see the beauty, the divinity of our true nature, our true Buddha nature. They don't see it. They're seeing through a glass darkly, as the Bible says, seeing through a glass darkly, rather than seeing the beauty that shines in us all, around us and within us. So let's just make a vow that we're going to try, at least try, that's the watchword, that's the key word, try, that's the talisman, try to see ourselves as divine and see others as divine. Let the light shine in our hearts. Let it shine outwards from our hearts to all those around us, to our family, friends, even to people out in the towns and the cities and the world in general. Just one light that shines in every heart. That we have to try and cultivate. Because the way things are in the world, it needs people to keep this light shining. It needs so much for people to keep this light shining. It's no good being despairing and thinking, oh, it's so dark, what's the point? Because if a few people keep the light shining, it will not go out. When the time comes, it will spread throughout the world, and the whole world will be lit up with such a beauty, such a spirituality, such a wonder that its parallel has never been known in the history of humanity as far as we know. We will return to that golden age. We will return to those better days. But the best is definitely yet to come. So let's have a few moments of quiet and silence again while we meditate upon our true spiritual nature, who we truly are in essence. Let's meditate upon that and becoming what we are. Thank you for listening to me ramble on. Om Shanti, 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 peace, 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 peace on earth and goodwill to all beings.